hands are part of our language. Hands are actually part of our language.
I know. That's why I said, isn't it weird that our arms are cut off?
And should you
Usually
always...
our hands are...
Have you ever been robbed?
You press play.
Have you ever been robbed?
No.
You got to see people's hands. Because robbers
Welcome
don't
to
show
the
you...
Ashes to Rubies conversational podcast where we talk about life and recovery and so much more. And sometimes people press play and don't tell everybody.
We're live. Yeah. No, I saw a whole thing on a TED Talk, and they did a study about people's hands.
Well, I know. That's why I said, isn't it kind of weird that you can only see part of our hands? That's why I was trying to tell you that before you pressed play.
You know what I dislike is the word handsy.
Well, don't say it. Don't ever say that word.
Like,
why are you saying that word?
Because it's like a youth group word. Because we're talking about hands. Your hand should always be seen. They said on the TED Talk that there was such like you could do the same talk, and the guy that used his hands expressively, he got like it was like a ridiculous amount more views. Yeah. Except
that podcasts have now surpassed YouTube videos. So
have they?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Not reels, but
I didn't know that. All right, here we are. It is Thursday morning.
Good morning, Ashlyn.
We're ready to go. We're ready to get our meditation on. Anything exciting today? No. What?
Is that always your question?
Like, isn't that what you ask people?
Start planning exciting things for me. You're gonna ask
you don't
that
have, oh, that's what I should do.
Do you have something exciting planned for me today?
Do I have something exciting? I know that you are going to deliver kombucha, and you're probably going to get a scone out of it. Yeah.
I always buy a scone.
That's what I know. Good morning, Penny. Here we go on our morning meditation.
I don't like that word either. I talk with my hands. Well, you can only see part of my hands today, and it feels weird to me. So
no, like it's a safety thing. If you can't see your hands,
but you can't see our hands. We have to keep our hands up here if we want people to see them. It's weird.
But then there's too much hands. I think you can. I think some people can overdo hands.
Just listen to the podcast later, and then you don't have to worry about our hands.
Yeah. I'm safe. I'm safe. All right. Someone suggested we should add another slogan. Oh, this is a book for the wives, the partners of the substance abuse people.
Okay.
So, of course, there's going to be a myriad of suggestions to make things better.
Myriad.
Myriad. Hey, I got an idea. Someone suggested we add another slogan to those we use in Al-Anon. Here's the slogan.
Okay.
This is beautiful. Listen and learn. Listen and learn. I think we should adapt that today. Listen and learn. It's our new slogan. My first reaction was, no, not everybody at an Al-Anon meeting says something that is helpful. What about those who advise, throw the bomb out? Doesn't that negate everything we're supposed to hear at Al-Anon? But wait, what I learned from the negative comments can be useful in opening my mind to my own wrong thinking. When someone gives advice, I can say to myself, but we're not supposed to advise in the 12-step fellowship. If someone expresses hostility and resentment for what the alcoholic does, it can teach me to avoid those very things in myself. Today's reminder, learn, listen, and learn. Learn and listen is sound doctrine if we use it well. We don't make significant progress in our thinking if we're only listening to ourselves talk. Here's, William Shakespeare. We're quoting William. Do you think they called him Willie? Willie Shakespeare, like Willie Nelson? It is the disease of not listening that I am troubled with. Another quote, I pray that I may learn from listening, whether or not I agree with what I hear. Amen.
Can you learn from listening, whether or not you agree with what you hear?
I like that concept of like disagreeing when I hear and then like challenging my own thinking, because so many times when I hear stuff, it's got a lot more truth than I would think, because I can come at my understanding through biases and prejudices. Biases mean like I'm already in agreement with something, like, and it's hard to change my mind of what we're talking about. And then a prejudice is something that I disagree with already. And I've learned I had lots of those.
It's very challenging to listen to learn when a lot of us listen to speak. Like your words are barely out before I'm while you're talking, I'm formulating my response most of the time.
Do you have trouble with, you relate to this then?
No, but I think like
No.
that's been something that I've really had to practice and learn, is how to just actually pay attention to someone and listen to them without formulating my response. And like choosing to not have to say something every time somebody finishes talking.
Words are plenty. There's a plethora of words in our mouths that are just waiting to fall out all over people, because and I think this is a good one too, where this person is actually in a 12-step fellowship where there are people giving advice and direction and getting upset and living in resentment. And so I think, in my experience, some of the most vocal people are the ones that I can learn off the most. And I can practice love and tolerance, and then like really decipher what they're saying, where the hurt's coming from, and try not to fix them or shut them down. That's that
I really like
hard practice.
I mean, I think it is a really good practice to listen. And I think that that's one of the amazing things that 12-step groups actually provide, is a place where we learn to listen without formulating a response, because of the, you know, the guidelines of no crosstalk and not having side conversations and hearing people out, but we don't formulate our own response. I think that that is a really good practice. I think I'm really grateful. It's been a long time since I first started attending 12-step groups. And I think that that was one of the best things that I learned in 12-step group, was like how to listen to someone and be present for what they're going through, but not have my own like, oh, this is what, oh yeah, that totally happened to me. Oh, this is what I did. And like, how, you know, that's natural for us in society. That's how we communicate with each other. And I actually think there's something really beautiful about just listening and, you know, being present for that person. And it's all about them then, you know, if I'm just like, wow, that sounds,
I was going to ask, what's really the point of that?
Because then it's all about me. And so if I have the opportunity, I know when things were really, really bad between, like with us, I had the opportunity.
Like yesterday?
No. I had the opportunity to listen to other people share. And then I had my turn, but my turn was just as, you know, much time as their turn. And so, and I'm not formulating a response to them. And so over time in small group, you learn to keep your own thought, like hold on to what I came, you know, to what I came in with, and not let what I speak about be like reflective of what the group.
And so there's another concept of, if you look in the mirror and you have all of these problems, and here's a suggestion for anybody, for all of us today. If you're full of resentment and bitterness and advice giving, and if they only did this better, look in the mirror and talk it out. Look in the mirror and tell the person in the mirror. And I would say 90% of the time, you will actually be able to hear the answer for yourself, and you'll be able to see your face. You'll be able to see the resentment inside of you. And our model is more of like, our fellowship would be more of a peer-to-peer. And so in peer-to-peer, we learn to listen. We learn not to give advice. We learn to point people to the advice giver, which is the God within us. So the problem is within us and in early recovery. And then the whole purpose of recovery, of the 12 steps, is to have a relationship with God that will solve all of my problems. I don't want to be your God. I don't want to, like, what advice do, and so I would say in some circles, in more of the religious circles, it's very advice giving. And in my experience, even in our fellowship, we do not have one licensed practitioner. And so if you are a licensed practitioner, you have a business, and keep your business on working hours. And so I think that's one thing is really, and the obvious one is God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And I think we would do a lot better, all of us, if we did a lot more listening than talking. And so how do I sit and be empathetic and not like, and even you want to relate to the person and go, oh yeah, that happened to me too. And you're actually taking from them again. You're not actually listening. You're just saying like, oh yeah, it's not that bad. This happened to me and this is what I did.
I don't think you're necessarily saying it's not that bad. When you relate, you're not saying it's not that bad. Like relating can often be like, oh, I don't want you to feel like you're alone. But it still draws attention away from them when, we can just say
Relating can
that sounds really hard.
Be a horrible thing because you're one-upping people.
You can be.
You're like, oh yeah, that happened to me too. Oh yeah, I did that too.
I don't think it's always one-upping. One-upping is terrible. But even relating can be really kind, but it still makes it about the other person.
Yeah, because I shouldn't be sharing a story that happened to me as well. Like, yeah, it's unnecessary.
I agree that it's unnecessary. It's not always one-upping. Sometimes it's very like, yeah, oh yeah, I know that's really hard. I went through that too. And then I start telling my story. So now you're not the one talking, I'm the one talking. Mm-hmm. And that can be because we want to provide a shared experience. We want to provide, we're trying to provide empathy. We're trying to help the person not feel alone. But I really feel, especially in 12-step group, like in the group format, that's not the purpose. There's other places for that where it's fine. But especially when we're in 12-step, when we're in these kind of meetings, when it's someone's turn, mm-hmm. It's their turn.
But the whole relating thing even can be advice giving, because for sure. Like, yeah, that happened to me too.
And this is what I did.
And this is what I did.
Yeah, totally.
And it all worked out for me. And so it's so easy to, like, it's so hard to just hear.
Yeah.
And just be like, yeah, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to, like, I think that there's a place when you're working with somebody, going like, what's the fear that's driving this? Or like, it sounds like you have a lot of self-pity. Mm-hmm. Like, where's that coming from? What expectation aren't you getting met? Like, I think those are great conversations outside of a group fellowship, mm-hmm. and especially when you're not invited into that.
I've also, in those moments, given people an opportunity to continue. Like, you can ask questions like, so what do you see happening tomorrow? What have you thought about what you're going to do next? Have you, like, I've asked questions like that, which my goal is to give the person an opportunity to continue to unpack what they're talking about. Mm-hmm, if we're outside of the small group context, like, I
think it's valid for being invited. So like, how did you guys like solve your money issues, or like, how did God teach you about finances? Mm-hmm. And then you can just share, this is what we did. This isn't what I would advise for everybody, but, and then how did you solve the addiction problem? Like, what did you do? Oh, you're so strong. Just tell me what you did. I need your strength. And so those can be like, on this side of it, I want them to hear God, mm-hmm. and not me. Mm-hmm. And so how do I lead them to God and not get a mesh, not be the advice giver and all that? New slogan, listen and learn. Listen and learn. Listen to learn what's going on inside. What's God saying to me when the voices are yelling? All right. Ready, set, break. That's a football thing. Ready?
I know.
Okay. Keep the peace.
We did it.
Be of good behavior. We did. Ready, break. We will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening.